If you carry a firearm and discharge your weapon in self-defense, you could face hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees and expenses. So carry the protection of CCW Safe, Self-Defense Legal Services membership. Upfront payment of all criminal and civil defense costs with no out-of-pocket for members. Unlimited defense budgets, unmatched legal expertise. Carry the same level of support police officers have. Carry CCW Safe, the highest caliber.
And we're back. And I've got our in-house 007, 26-year CIA operative, Jeff MD, author extraordinaire with us tonight. We've got our in-house EOD mad bomber, Mike Sterling. The rumors of his demise, have been greatly exaggerated.
Yet again.
I believe we've got S2 with us, but we couldn't get a good sound check before we went live.
Yeah,
S2.
I'm here.
We got you. All right. So quick mention that if you want the brief for this episode or any other episode, go to patreon.com/survival dispatch. Most of them you can download as a free member. You don't have to be a paying member. It has all of the links and everything that we cover throughout an episode. You can consume it at your leisure, especially for some of the longer videos that we don't have time to play the entire thing while we're on air. And we've added a new section to the end of our briefs called Restricted. And that is content that YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. would end up either getting us deplatformed or at the very least a strike. All right. So we're going to jump in right away with a quick video here. And pardon me for not having all this queued up. All right, here we go.
The White House Biden health cover-up blown wide open in bombshell report. Joe was senile from day one of presidency. So the White House tried to hide from the public Joe Biden's rapidly diminishing mental condition for his entire presidency, according to a bombshell report. So they had to hire a vocal coach. They put officials into roles usually done by the president. They scrapped meetings on his bad days and kept him at arm's length from his own cabinet members. And this is absolutely incredible because
So the gist of that is, and the main topic tonight, which again, we've got a new format. We'll blast through the Cliff Notes version the first 10 minutes. And then for those people who are short on time and have to leave, they can do so. The rest can hang around. We'll continue to do a deep dive in chapter 1, then chapter 2, headline news, chapter 3, zany, funny stuff. But the main topic tonight is Joe Biden's dementia. And many of the White House aides, by the way, have reported that they were contending with his dementia as far back as Obama's second term. This is not something that just came out of nowhere, but it's a fairly big scandal because it lays bare what we've been saying for quite some time, that Joe Biden has not been in charge of this administration, that it's been the Obama Brennan crew, including some of their surrogates like Susan Rice, which we've covered in depth as well before. So here's the Libs of TikTok take on this. Holy schlit. According to a new bombshell report by the Wall Street Journal, staffers in the Biden administration worked to hide Joe's mental decline from the moment he took office. This included putting other officials into roles occupied by the president and scrapping national security meetings on his bad days. He also reportedly could not repeat lines his staff fed him while preparing for an interview with special counsel Robert Hur. The Democrats and the media tried to gaslight the American people for 4 years. So with regards to Robert Hur, he's the one who looked into the classified documents being in Joe Biden's garage. As a ex-president, Trump had the permission, the right to do that. As a vice president, you do not have that right. So Robert Hur basically found that Joe Biden was guilty of having confidential state documents in his garage that he shouldn't have had, but he declined to recommend that he be prosecuted because he wasn't mentally capable. So at that point in time, they were basically saying to us, look, he screwed up and he should be, held accountable for this, but he's not mentally fit enough to do that. But he's okay to run the government. So pretty crazy there. So this one here is a quick synopsis of the Wall Street Journal, which we're going to get into in just a second. But none of Joe Biden's policies should stand because they were made by either a mentally incapacitated president or by White House Chief of Staff, National Security Advisor, etc. The press knew this and did not report it. Obama, Jill, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries knew. They all hid it from the American people, and they wonder why we don't trust them anymore. So let me pull up the big article here, because if you don't have a subscription for the New York or the Wall Street Journal, pardon me, you can't get into any of this stuff. But fortunately, somebody put it on archive.js. However, before we go there, I'm going to go to you first, Jeff, and get your high level view of Joe Biden's mental capacity throughout this 4-year gong show, for lack of a better term.
Well, obviously, no one is surprised to find out that he was senile. People were saying that during his campaign in 2020. I mean, the guy was losing it. What is criminal, and I do mean criminal, are the people who covered it up. And the reason it's criminal is because people were acting with the authority of the President of the United States who should not have been acting with the authority of the President of the United States. Somebody was making the decision. Somebody was, putting forth policy, proposing regulations, all this stuff. And we know it wasn't him. And if you can go to jail for abusing your oath of office, you should be able to go to jail for pretending to have authority you don't have. It's like impersonating a police officer. You're impersonating a government official, in this case, the frickin' President of the United States.
Yeah, well said, Jeff. Good summary. And again, we want to knock out the Cliff Notes version in the first 10 minutes. So if you go download the brief, you can get this link to archive.js, so you don't have to pay for the article. But as you can see, if you look at the sidebar here on the side of my browser and you look how small that is, this is a really, really long article by the Wall Street Journal. And it's long because there are a ton of examples of Joe Biden's dementia causing him problems. So this video here is 5 minutes and 46 seconds long. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play the first little bit. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to come to you, Mike. I'll play a bit more, and then I'll come to S2. And it's long enough, I'll probably end up coming right back to you as well, Jeff. And that should cover most of the high level stuff. So here we go.
Headline: How the White House functioned with a diminished Biden in charge. And it comes with this quote: "If the president was having an off day, meetings could be scrapped altogether. On one such occasion in the spring of 2021, a national security official explained to another aide why a meeting needed to be rescheduled. Quote, he has good days and bad days, and today was a bad day, so we're going to address this tomorrow," the former aide recalled the official saying. The president showed natural signs of aging, but key allies always stuck their necks out to say, no big deal.
Right after the debate, you insisted that President Biden is extraordinarily strong. Given where we are now, do you have any regrets about what you told the American people?
No, not at all.
So that's where I'm going to pause it first, Mike. Every single person who's been part of this gong show has lied through their teeth like she just did there.
Well, she's got no regrets because she has no conscience.
Right.
She has no soul.
Right. You have to have a soul in order to have a conscience. And, well, I mean, just look at those eyes, like a shark's eyes. Look like a doll's eyes, lifeless and black.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No worries at all. It's
Okay,
just
Quint.
See, you picked it up. Thank you.
It's just crazy how bad the gaslighting has been.
Oh, yeah. Really. But you know what? We were saying this. I mean, look at all the crazy gaffes that were coming out of his mouth during his last term as vice president. I mean, he was just meme gold every time he would open his mouth. And everybody was like, dude, what's wrong with this guy? And then they put him up for president and everybody said, you're gonna what? He was bad back then, and he just got worse, and everybody lied about it. And the only thing that I can say is we called it.
We sure did. Good.
Yes, we did.
You absolutely deserve to take a victory lap on this one, Mike.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I don't want to be the guy that says I told you so, but
No, it's okay. You can be the guy.
but I told you so.
There you go.
And
All
I
right.
think on the very first time I was on this show, I said my father died of dementia.
Yes.
And I saw in Biden what I saw in my dad.
It not hard to see. I mean, right down to his walk. That
Yeah.
walk where they've got their arms straight down and
Yeah.
very. I don't know how to describe it, but it's very dementia-like. And
Oh,
my stepfather had dementia as well, and we saw the exact same behavior. So back to this video.
Not at all.
I talk to President Biden, regularly, usually several times in a week. His mental acuity is great. It's fine. It's as good as it's been over the years.
Well, do you think the president should undergo some sort of cognitive testing?
To the extent that we're having this conversation, I don't see any need to do that
But if you're
as it relates to Biden.
Things have changed a lot, but no obvious second thoughts.
You prepare to leave the White House. Any other regrets that you have? Anything you wish you would have done differently?
Well, I guess if I thought a lot about it, it'd be something I'd have done specifically done, but not generically.
More ice cream.
I had a front row seat to a lot of this, and at various times was basically told not to believe what I was seeing or hearing. The president misspoke. The president has a cold. But now the dam appears to be breaking. This Wall Street Journal item interviewed 50 people familiar with Biden's operation. Back to you.
So, Peter, you had the story in August. The Wall Street Journal began to dip their toe in the water on this very topic, and they got blasted. You've gotten blasted when you've questioned the president's acuity. And Kamala Harris offended that people even bring it up. But they talk about interaction between Biden and many of his cabinet members were infrequent, often tightly scripted. At least one cabinet member stopped requesting calls with the president because it was clear that such requests wouldn't be welcome. The cabinet. Peter Doocy can't get an interview. His own cabinet can't get a meeting. Adam Smith, who's chairman of Armed Services, tried to tell the president how bad Afghanistan could turn out. He couldn't get to him. This is cataclysmic.
And it raises a lot of questions about who was making key decisions.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Afghanistan withdrawal. If the president was as diminished as this story makes it sound, that would be a huge problem, and it could explain why certain decisions were made that turned out to be catastrophic and why no apologies were ever made.
So S2, I'm assuming you probably already know this, but for the entire tenure of Joe Biden's installation, 9 cabinet meetings. Each cabinet meeting, people had to have their questions prepared and submitted in advance, and there were certain things they were not allowed to discuss. For comparison, in the previous administration, Donald Trump held 25 cabinet meetings. Give me your thoughts on who's been running the show.
Where do I start?
Take deep breaths.
I think all of them that are in his cabinet have been taking turns, and that's why you can see no clear where they were trying to go with things, because they would do one thing that would cause things to turn right, and then they would do something else. Then the next guy got to step up and say, okay, it's my turn now, and all of a sudden everything would start turning to shit again. And I think even at some point that they weren't even listening to Dumbo anymore. So they just started taking matters into their own hands. And let's be frank, none of them in his cabinet, they either know what they're doing and they're being completely malicious about it, or they have absolutely no idea what they're doing and they're just incompetent, or a combination of all of the above.
I'm going with a combination. I mean, look at Lloyd Austin. Disappears, goes completely off the radar for 4 or 5 days. The man who's in charge of our military tells nobody what's going on, and then comes back and says, well, I had some treatments for cancer. I probably should have told you that I was going to be indisposed. You think? All right, let's listen to a little bit more here.
Your point, Brian, when the cabinet met all 9 times, which is the least in the last several decades that a president has had their whole cabinet together in an entire term. There was a different item a few months ago where cabinet secretaries were being asked to submit their questions for the president behind closed doors in advance, and they were being told to keep it quick because the way that it worked was they would ask a question that was pre-screened, and then the president would have a card with the answer, even in a closed setting. And I hear a lot of the complaints about, and there was a bite in the open, why wasn't there more coverage of the president's age and acuity earlier? Well, a lot of the stories that you hear...
You kept asking.
I kept asking the whole time. And a lot of the stories that we would hear, that we would try to report out, are secondhand, but it's a lot of stuff like, you would hear from somebody on the staff or somebody that works at the White House. It looked like the president was falling asleep somewhere. Okay, hard to confirm that, but we have tape of him falling asleep at events, Peter, as recently as his most recent foreign trip.
You know, it was off the record last Friday. There was a holiday party at the White House. You had a brief interaction that has not been reported, and it kind of speaks to how his aides just ripped you essentially out of that room when you two started talking.
It was actually kind of funny. I took my sister Mary as my +1. And when we got up there, I said, Mr. President, this is my sister Mary. And the first thing he said to her is, my sister tries to control me. And the first lady and the press secretary who was standing off to the side were trying to keep the line going. And they did. And so it was quick. But a lot of that.
And I think he might have said something like, I'd like to talk to you later. And then it's like, come on, Peter, let's go. And there you went.
Yes. Yeah.
With your sister Mary, who tries to control you too.
It's true. But I made sure that Mary did what I always do at these White House parties. They have like napkins with the presidential seal. So just make sure that as many as you can grab on your way out.
So Jeff, back around to you. Thoughts on all of the people who closed ranks around him? I mean, they're guilty of something. I mean,
well, it really reminds me of when Andropov had his stroke. Well, actually, before him, Chernenko, and then Andropov. They had their stroke, and what it is they don't tell you he had a stroke. They just say he's unavailable. He just disappears for a while, and then they'll put out a message that says that the leader, the chairman of the Central Committee, has a cold, and then solemn classical music starts playing in all the radio stations. And that means you have 48 hours until they announce his death. It's just the old Soviet style. But instead of announcing his death, here they just go, no, he's fine. He's fine. Don't believe your lying eyes. Just trust us. We wouldn't lie to you. This reminds me of the Soviet Union. I mean, having gone through the death of, Brezhnev and Chernenko and Andropov, this is Soviet shit.
This is in addition to that, this is 1984 shit. The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command.
Yeah,
exactly. So I've got one more to wrap up this rapid 10-minute high-level overview here. So this is a conversation with Mark White Rage Milley. Unbelievable, by the way. This one kills me.
I would just tell you that I meet frequently with the president, and every single time I meet with him, he is just fine. How people interpret that is up to them, but I engage with him frequently and alert, sound, does his homework, reads the papers, reads all the read-ahead material, and is very, very engaging in issues of very serious matters of war and peace and life and death. So if the American people are worried about an individual who is, someone who's making decisions of war and peace and has access to, makes the decisions of nuclear weapons and that sort of thing, I think they can rest easy. I would just.
So, Mike,
one quick question: of the two young characters in Weekend at Bernie's, which one is he?
You watch that eye movement?
Neither. He's Bernie.
No, Biden is Bernie. Which one is it?
Bernie.
Yeah, Bernie's fine. Yeah, have a string on his hand so he can wave to people.
So, Mike, being a military veteran, your thoughts on Mark Milley just as a leader overall?
Mark Milley's a dirtbag and apparently has been going all the way back to the 80s. Yeah, he was always a ladder climber. From everything I'm getting from everybody, man, that dude always a ladder climber. And if you want to, if anybody wants to go back, watch that interview that we just ran closely. Concentrate on his eyes. Watch his eyes. That guy's not telling the truth, and he knows he's not telling the truth.
Yeah, well said. S2, your thoughts, since you're a veteran as well, on Milley as a leader?
S2.
Paging S2.
Okay. Great
Sorry, on mute. Sorry. In light of the fact that he was directly involved in the withdrawal from Afghanistan and basically told Trump that Trump's plan was stupid, and he got 13 of my Marines killed, that dirtbag needs to be thrown into Leavenworth and throw the key away.
I second the motion. So that's the quick 10-minute high-level overview of the subject for tonight. Now we're going to get into a little bit of a deeper dive, but suffice it to say that it hasn't been a big secret that Joe Biden has very advanced dementia and that this whole administration's been run by somebody else. Mike, go ahead before we hit the next one.
Yeah, everybody out there watching, you need to smash that like and subscribe button, okay? I see a whole bunch of people out there, and we ain't got enough like buttons. So if you're going to leave, you better hit that like button on your way out the door. Ring the bell.
All right. Thanks, Mike. So this next one here, White House staffers are suddenly coming clean about Joe Biden's health. Since day one, they all knew he wasn't steering the ship. They used a voice coach, nap times, drugs, and other tactics to make him look like he was still functioning. Every piece of legislation he's ever signed needs to be legally challenged. Every person that participated in this treasonous act needs to be prosecuted. The damage done to our country these last 4 years will take decades to recover from. We can't let those involved go unpunished.
Here in North Carolina and across America, who are working hard to find a secure place in the middle class. The moms who worry that their
He made it down the stairs.
Oh, I get that. I get that. Okay. PBS, Ms. Lopez.
She knows so long as she was denied, our freedom can never be secured.
See a call incoming.
Elder abuse. Maybe this.
So in reality, that is a very small sampling of, a bad pun, but one misstep after another. So the next one up, everyone in the White House that hid Biden's dementia, especially Andrew Bates, should be hauled in for questioning. They've got blood on their hands. Mentally fatigued Biden, skip calls from concerned, I'm not sure what they mean by POL, political people maybe, before disastrous Afghan pullout. Moving on to the next one, mentally fatigued Biden, skip call from concerned poll. There it is again. What does that mean? Somebody enlighten me.
I bet. Probably politician.
Man, it's not a very long word. I'm surprised they truncated it like that. But okay, well, let's roll with that. Mentally fatigued Biden, skip call from concerned politician before disastrous Afghanistan pullout in the report. So let's have a quick listen to this one. It's a short video.
Biden to be the president. Is he up to it?
He certainly is not as sharp as he was when he was vice president. You know, his aides are, you know, emphatic that his decision-making capacity, you know, remains strong. But I think we ought to see his doctor's reports. You know, we ought to be able to interview his doctor. That's something that we're very eager to do. We ought to have the full information from his physicals. I think the questions about his health are clearly very relevant. And I think the White House ought to be more straightforward about that.
Should have been, right? President Biden was so mentally fatigued that he skipped out on a phone call from the chair of the powerful House Armed Services Committee ahead of the U.S.'s disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, according to a report. Biden, the oldest president in U.S. history, was incredibly hard to reach, even for lawmakers in his own party, as his aides attempted to keep Biden's evident mental and physical decline under tight reps, a bombshell report from the Wall Street Journal revealed. So this is all reference back to this Wall Street Journal story that was published a few days ago. Did you have something to add, Jeff or Mike?
No.
Okay.
It's obvious.
I mean, it's difficult to get off stage when you're pooping.
That too, as well, right? All right. So the next one that's up here, there's a video of this as well. The mainstream media now admits that Joe Biden's presidency was a carefully managed facade, with evidence suggesting he was never truly in charge.
Stopped requesting calls with the president because it was clear that such requests wouldn't be welcome. When people did meet with Biden, which was rare, they were told to keep it simple so Biden could focus. But most of the time, Biden didn't want to talk. If the president was having an off day, meetings could be scrapped altogether. On one such occasion, a national security official explained to another aide why a meeting needed to be rescheduled. He has good days and bad days, and today was a bad day, so we're going to address this tomorrow. There were a lot of bad days. Joe may have torn down the border wall, but he built one around himself. Presidents always have gatekeepers, but in Biden's case, the walls around him were higher and the controls greater. There were limits over who Biden spoke with, limits on what they said to him, and limits around the sources of information he consumed. His own people said the president didn't have his finger on the pulse. Biden was kind of like an aging king. White House staffers hid headlines from Joe, and they wouldn't let him see internal polling where Trump was winning. They rehearsed with Biden on how to get off and on the stage.
So just a quick comment, and you guys can chime in if you want as well. When my stepfather was diagnosed with dementia, we were warned that at some point in time, he would get very angry. And this is a man who never got mad. And he was very just level, okay? And the way the doctor explained it was that when patients who have dementia still have one foot in, you know, lucidity and the other foot in la la land, that they know that they're losing their faculties and they get really angry. And sometimes they said it might not only last a couple hours or days. In other cases, it goes on for a long time. Joe Biden has had that angry dementia thing going on for a while. How many times have you seen him yell and scream into a microphone, you know, like it's out of a real bad B movie?
He wanted his ice cream.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, we'll listen to a little bit more of Jesse Waters here.
Even if it was obvious. And they tried to stop him from making gaffes that could, quote, upset the world order. Jesus. For 4 years, we've been asking, who's running the country? We know it's not Biden. It was his staff. The only thing Biden cared about was looking like he had it together. Biden's team tapped campaign co-chairman Jeffrey Katzenberg, a Hollywood mogul, to find a voice coach to improve the president's fading role. Everything the press said Trump is dishonest, egotistical, crazy, tired. It's actually what Biden is. And they covered it up. We had a corpse's staff running the White House for years, and the Democrats in the media hid it until debate night.
So I'm going to disagree with Jesse Waters here, because we have really good intel from General Paul Vallely that immediately after Joe Biden was installed, there was a significant number of ex-military brass who worked together to put surveillance on people like Susan Rice. And Susan Rice's home is quite a distance away from the White House compared to the Obamas. And for her to go to the Obama's home and then the White House was actually a pretty significant detour. And she did it on a daily basis. And the surveillance had both audio and video attached to it. And she would leave with an attaché of instructions from Obama, go to the White House and deliver those instructions. At the end of the day, this is John Brennan and, you know, Barack Obama working behind the scenes more so than the staffers. I can see the staffers making decisions on, you know, some small day-to-day stuff, but the big pivots, the big decisions were Obama and Brennan, and Susan Rice was the messenger.
Chris, can I say something here real quick?
Yeah.
I think one of the bigger questions we need to be asking here is, we've all known this stuff has been going on. I mean, he came out during his campaign and basically let the cat out of the bag, saying we put together the largest voter fraud organization ever. And the question that we need to be asking ourselves now is, why are they putting him out front and center? Are they trying to distract everybody from the people that are behind him, or are they trying to hang him out to dry?
And that's a great question. And when we get into chapter 2, I think it is, there's somebody who speculates, I can't remember who the post is from, but I've got the link for it, that they're going to install Kamala for the last 30 days for some reason. I'm not saying that I believe it, but
well, they just want everybody who printed out 45, 47 T-shirts to lose a shitload of money.
There
now
you go.
Got to print out 45, 48.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Look at the shiny thing. Look at the shiny thing,
like,
kid.
Ignore the man behind the curtain.
Right?
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Wizard of Oz.
They're saying, I'm sorry.
As a reporter, I have a confession to make. I should have pushed harder earlier for more information about Joe Biden's mental and physical well-being and any signs of decline. Republicans would regularly ping me and say, why don't you ask more questions of Joe Biden and how he's doing? He's 76, 77, 78-year-old man. And I would sort of brush them off, because what I would say is, well, there's no obvious evidence that he's declining. The White House and the people around Joe Biden were absolutely adamant that suggesting anything, asking the question about whether he was in some physical, mental, or both decline was offensive. How could you? It's age shaming. And I think that impacted me at some level.
So, Jeff, that's the end of it. But Jeff, I wanted to get your opinion on this. Do you buy that guy's mea culpa? Because I don't.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, Jesus Christ, a blind man could have seen this stuff 100 years ago. And the only honest person I've seen in all this crap is the one that says he's just as good as he was when he was vice president, because he was a moron then too. He's always been a moron. Joe has never been a smart person on his best day, but now he is both stupid and demented.
But he graduated at the top of his class, got 4 degrees.
Yeah.
Right. That's right. That was a lie that ended up in him having to drop out of the 1988 primary. That's right.
Well, as the oldest guy here, I remember him having to drop out because he lied and plagiarized. He lifted entire speeches from of all people. Now, I'll give him credit. He picked someone obscure. It was a British Labor Party official.
Exactly. Yeah.
But somebody did the research and he probably went, shit, I didn't think anyone would look that deep. He's always been a scumbag.
But what's impressive,
stupid. Now he's stupid and demented.
But what's really impressive,
no, it is what it is.
What's really impressive, Jeff, is that was done long before there was any interwebs to go find this stuff.
Yeah.
Whoever did
LexisNexis and did a search.
Yeah, fantastic job. So moving on to the next one here. So Insurrection Barbie. Biden only held 9 cabinet meetings in 4 years. And during those meetings, members of his cabinets had to submit written questions in advance so he could write out the answers in advance. I just wanted to show something in writing to that effect. Next one up here. Biden made this one's brutal. I'm guessing you guys have probably seen this. This, if nothing else has pissed you off up until this point, this will. Report: Biden made military families of troops killed in Afghanistan wait 3 hours while he napped on Air Force One on the tarmac, according to the Daily Mail. According to family members who spoke to the outlet, Biden couldn't pull it together. Biden made us wait an extra 3 hours to receive the bodies of our dead family members because he couldn't pull it together, sister of Riley McCollum Royce said. Royce added that a military officer told her that Biden was napping on the plane. Not only that, he also, keeps looking at his watch during this ceremony. Just unreal, like absolutely unreal. All right, so in a little bit of a pivot here, not only does he have dementia, but all of the accomplishments that they bragged about kept having to get rolled back, right? We created 800,000 new jobs. Oh, right. Sorry, that was 35,000. Or they created all these millions of jobs, which was people that had to leave their job because of COVID and restrictions, and then brought them back. But this one in particular on the jobs caught my eye. Biden's America, 43 million Americans out of jobs. All net job growth goes to migrants. Mike, I know you've got some, let's say, less than honorary corporations in your neck of the woods that use illegal aliens.
Yeah. Tyson Foods, I'll call you out. Yeah, here in Alabama, we have got Tyson Foods all over the place. They dumped in Athens, well, a bunch of the plants here in northern Alabama. One night, end of the day, they dumped every Hispanic in the line, who were all probably, 80% of those weren't legal in the first place. Next morning, Haitians. Yeah, no, dirtbags. Now, I do want to point out one thing, and this is picking up off of a whole bunch of people on both YouTube and on Rumble, and I agree with them 100%, but Jill Biden is also complicit in this whole thing. She wanted to be first lady so bad, she allowed this crap to happen. The woman has no soul.
Have you seen the news reports, Mike, where she's completely snubbed Kamala and her husband, didn't send them a Christmas card, and actually made a point out of announcing that she didn't send them a Christmas
because
card.
They all hate each other. The whole bunch of them hate each other, which is, probably one of the other reasons why the staff was going into all kinds of different directions, because they were getting direction from the Bidens. They were, from Jill Biden. They're getting direction from the Obamas, and then they're getting direction from people in the cabinet, and the staff is going in all kinds of different directions.
Yeah, well said. So this next post is pretty important, and S2, you'll be the first one to comment on it. I'll try to get through this as quickly as I can for the people who are not aware of what the Smith-Mundt Act was and what the annual NDAA requires. There's every year for the National Defense Authorization Act, there's always things that change every single year. So this is pretty crazy. I'll give you the high level overview. Essentially, Obama put an update into the 2012 NDAA that said that government agencies could spread propaganda to domestic news sources for consumption by Americans in America. Prior to that, the Smith-Mundt Act of 1948 forbid that from happening domestically. It could only happen overseas. And this is essentially the source of much propaganda. So the reason that this is important to this conversation with regards to Biden is that all of these things that have come out of this installed administration, they didn't win, they were installed. If somebody can tell me where the 15 million votes disappeared from 2020 to 2024, maybe you could convince me it wasn't stolen, but probably not. So many of the pieces of information given out by 3 and 4 letter agencies prior to this update, the modernization of the Smith-Mundt Act in 2012, they would have been guilty of an offense, a very serious offense here domestically. So let me just give you the Cliff Notes version of this post, and then as to I want to get your input on this. And never forget, under the CIA's Manchurian candidate Barack Hussein Obama's second administration, the National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, included an amendment that legalized the use of propaganda directly on the American public. The amendment by Mac Thornberry, Republican Texas, and Adam Smith, Democrat Washington, passed, effectively nullifying the Smith-Mundt Act of 1948, which explicitly forbid the weaponization of information and psychological operations in order to influence U.S. public opinion. Brennan and Clapper complained that the Smith-Mundt Act of 1948 tied the hands of America's diplomatic officials, military, and others by inhibiting their ability to effectively communicate lies and misinformation in a credible way. And it's interesting that they would bring up John Brennan, or this person who wrote this article would mention it. John Brennan is the liaison between our federal government and the powers that be, the NWO, the cabal, whatever you want to call them, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. And Obama to this day takes his marching orders from John Brennan. And that's content for a whole other episode, which, by the way, we have Patrick Byrne coming back who can attest to this happening firsthand. So S2, you're an intel guy and you're deep into this stuff on a daily basis. What's your opinion, number one, of what Obama did by modernizing this? And number two, what effect has it had on the political landscape? And number three, how did it empower them to essentially get away with this false presidency?
Well, this is an easy one, actually. They were doing it already. All Obama did was made it legal. I mean, they started in 1950 doing this mess, lying to the American public, and they did it over and over and over again. And they used the propaganda in the Vietnam War to further their war machine. And as far as their impact goes, they've done a lot of damage over the years, but now, when they did that, essentially, I don't think they got the memo from the judge about the indefinite detention thing, because that's exactly what they're doing to the J6ers.
Well said. Good point. Really good point. Let's have a quick listen to this video before we move on to the next one.
Free speech itself was not really something that the United States of America was all that gung-ho about until the Cold War. We had a First Amendment, but we had morality laws about what could be published. We had decency laws. We still, to this day, have restrictions on what can be said on the TV and the radio, or else your government license to broadcast gets pulled. But during the 20th century, after World War II ended, free speech became an instrument of statecraft. It became a weapon of war. It became a means to advance the American empire by prying open other countries, and in particular by running money and by running ideas to political dissident groups, particularly in socialist or communist countries, in order to overthrow their governments and install a government more malleable to U.S. interests. And so we created a machine, a free speech industrial complex, if you will, spanning tens of thousands of NGOs and nonprofits and university centers and journalists and judicial reform, basically bribing judges in foreign countries in order to open up their free speech concepts so that we could flood the zone with CIA proprietary media like Voice of America, Radio Free Europe, Radio Free Asia. And this free speech doctrine was totally undisputed. It was an unalloyed good pretty much up until the 2016 geopolitical turbulence with the events of Brexit and Donald Trump.
So, Jeff, being former CIA, I'd like to get your input on this, please.
Well, there's something for a little historical context. That was it the Smith-Mundt Act, whatever it was. It was passed in 1948, and what people need to realize, what happened in 1948 was the first post-war election in Italy, and it was the Russians trying to influence it, or the Soviets, and we countered by trying to influence the people to be pro-West. Soviets were trying to make them pro-Soviet, And we spent a shit ton of money, and we used a lot of agents of influence and things like that to swing that election to make Italy non-communist. And it was very successful. You know, they spent a lot of time and effort doing it. We did too. We ended up being on top. But I think where that act came is people looked at what we did in Italy and said, we shouldn't be doing that here. And so we're going to pass this act to say, yeah, we can do it overseas in war-torn Europe and during the reconstruction of it in the Marshall Plan, but we don't want them doing it here. And that's where that law came from. And when they've officially rolled it back under Obama, that's basically saying, yeah, we're going to do to our own people what we did to the Italians in 1948.
I did not know that.
Me either. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Not that old, but I'm pretty old.
No, that was good information. Really appreciate that for sure. So this next video is from 2017 with Lou Dobbs at speaking to the shadow government that Obama was putting together to essentially sabotage Donald Trump's first term. And it's happening again. And we've got some content in tonight's broadcast that speaks to that. But let's have a quick listen to Lou Dobbs here.
The Great American. Well, joining me now, Paul Sperry, New York Post columnist, author of The Great American Bank Robbery. And he is writing on what is the resistance, the shadow government being formed by Barack Obama. And first, Paul, thank you very much. And my congratulations on outstanding reporting. I wonder to what degree the national liberal media will even pay an ounce of attention. Will they have the courage, the principle, to report on the things that you and I are talking about here tonight?
Well, of course not. I mean, you got a Obama-friendly media, and they're going to try and cover this up and keep it on the QT as long as they can, so that Obama can get this, like I was calling it in the column, a shadow government, build this up. I don't think Republicans know what they're up against here. He's quietly building this shadow opposition government to sabotage Trump and Republicans as well in their policies, while at the same time saving his own legacy. And he's doing all this through a radical Alinsky group that he founded called Organizing for Action, OFA.
Right.
And OFA has been reactivated right now, by the way, and we do have content coming up on that.
And they've got an army of agitators, and they are going to, they're fanning out. They're going to hit Republicans even harder next week when they go home for recess back to their home districts.
Right. So keep in mind that's from 7 years ago. And he just put a call out to reactivate the OFA to basically promote, I'm trying to think of the right words, beyond just demonstrations, blocking Donald Trump's initiatives any way they possibly can. The resistance. There you go.
What they called it last time.
Yeah. So, Mike, I want to hear your thoughts on another term with Obama having another shadow government. He's like the master of shadow governments.
Oh yeah, we can't afford it. We cannot afford to have him creeping around in the background, pulling strings. It's been proven that it's no good. I mean, it's bad for the country. It's good for him and his his globalist cronies, but that's the only ones that it's good for. It's bad for us. He's got to go, man.
So, well, that begs the question: how? How do you get him out of this? How do you get him out of politics?
For starters, one, we got to clean house on the Hill. That's going to be a big thing right there. You clean house on the Hill. You clean house in a bunch of the agencies. You get a bunch of the people that are beholden to him out, and that really limits his power there. He's the first president ever to not leave the Washington, D.C. area when he finished his term.
Right.
And that right there tells you something.
You need to get rid of his minions.
Right. You cut off his minions. You cut off his communications.
He established an office right around the corner from the White House.
Right.
Well, in all fairness, George Washington did go to Mount Vernon, but Mount Vernon was there first.
Yeah. And that back then, that was a long ways away.
Well, and D.C. wasn't the capital either. It was Philadelphia, I believe.
Yeah, that's true.
So this next video I'm going to play, the last time we played this video, YouTube took our video down, but I'm going to play it again because y'all will get to see it on the live version. Then I'll get a notification from YouTube saying that they took the video down, and then I'll have to go in and edit it out to please the YouTube gods to get it put back on their platform. But this is about as clear as it gets.
You wish like you had a third term. And I used to say, you know what, if I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony, I'd be fine with that.
I'm sorry, this last question I'll take, and I'm really going to be in trouble.
And we have to do those imminently, more imminently even, to address the full Obama agenda of building back better. The full Obama agenda.
The full Obama agenda. This is after Joe Biden was installed.
You know what, if I could make an arrangement,
Just listen to people. They'll tell you who they are.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
Read
S2.
Mein Kampf. It explained exactly what Hitler did in World War II. And he published it, 6 years before he took off or before it happened?
Yep. So S2, this one lands on you. Paging S2.
I'm here. Oh, about that.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about criminals is they always make a mistake. And as soon as Kash Patel hits the FBI and whoever Trump decides to appoint as director of the CIA, I don't know if he has yet, but I'm voting for Mike Benz. I think as soon as that happens and they clean that house around there, then they can start actually really digging into what Obama's been doing and be able to draw that roadmap back to him. And we asked the question about how do we get him out? Well, yeah, you clean house of the minions. That's going to take time. It took us 4 years to expose all of these politicians and some of the folks that are in the DOJ to get to that point. So I foresee another 4 years of having to go in and clean out these agencies because some of them are very well entrenched moles. They're not going to be easy to find, and they may be sitting outside of the agency. So once that happens and we can actually start digging in and finding the money roadmap that goes back to Obama, I totally expect him to be arrested and imprisoned.
That would be a great advancement. So the next one up here kind of fits into our conversation in a couple ways. Number one, we've done extensive coverage on the drones in the Northeast. And number two, obviously we're speaking about the final days of this corrupt administration. So Biden admin trying to use the drone situation to pass a bill giving government wireless surveillance access to our phones. The bill before us would grant law enforcement significant authority to intercept private electronic communications without consent, to grant sweeping surveillance powers. The bill would allow the government to conduct dragnet surveillance of phones, innocent Americans traveling through U.S. airports, as long as the government claims they're doing it to neutralize a drone. That's how they're tying this to the drone situation. So in order to look at the information that might be coming to a drone, it may be that you capture all of the information of everybody surrounding an airport or everybody who lives near an airport. Once you have all of that data, what are the assurances that the government isn't looking at your data in addition to the data that may be related to flying a drone? I'm not going to play the video because we're running pretty long on chapter 1 here, but Jeff, I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, to me, it makes perfect sense because if you're flying in an airplane, in an airport, and you're on an airplane, you obviously are interested in things in the sky. Therefore, you must be a terrorist drone operator, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, how stupid
I mean,
of me
it's
not
just
to
makes sense to me.
It's obvious.
Okay, shall we all vote on that? S2, we're gonna assume that was a thumbs up.
So here's the thing, and S2 was the deepest into this right from the get-go, that all of this drone activity is essentially a massive psyop. It's a big power grab, right? So they're trying to give law enforcement all the way down to the local PD level the abilities to take drones down, and that doesn't exist right now. Now they're trying to use the drones so they can spy on people's phones, but this is kind of interesting timing. And there's been some rumors to this effect. Amazon has reportedly begun testing its long-awaited drone delivery service in Arizona. And what's rumored to have happened is that Amazon and other big players have gone to their bought and paid for Congress people and said, you've got to knock out all the competition, and nobody should be able to have these drones except for us. And as well as the fact, like, look at Pete Buttplug in Western North Carolina during the Helene stuff. He announced that nobody should be flying drones. It's too dangerous, when in reality, the drones are exposing just what a piss poor job our federal government was doing and continues to do for the people of West North Carolina. At the end of the day, I don't have any question in my mind that this drone thing is all about grabbing power. Nothing more, nothing less sort of thing, right? So here's another example of Biden in his final days. Well, not his final days, this crooked administration, right? So Biden spends waning days of presidency dishing out $1 billion to preserve the Amazon rainforest. President Joe Biden's administration is dedicating $1 billion to preserve the Ecuadorian Amazon as a means of addressing climate change. White House Press Secretary Karen KJP announced Friday. But there's no mention of Americans in need in West North Carolina and Eastern Tennessee. Mike, you've been there. You've helped people with these relief efforts. Lay it on us.
Oh my God, dude. These freaking people. Now if they weren't complicit before, they definitely are now. I gotta pass. I can't. I'm gonna lose my head.
Fair. Well, you know what? That's basically says all that needs to be said right there. So we'll move on.
They're throwing the gold bricks overboard is what they're doing.
Yeah. So here's another brutal thing that we touched on, I think, briefly before we went live. The driver confirmed Joe Biden ordered Secret Service agents to wipe their cell phones. This included messages from before and on and after January the 6th. This is 100% illegal. I wonder if these corrupt pieces of shit understand how telecommunication companies convert text and SMS into internet data and store it on their cloud servers. Data may not be available to the subscriber after certain amounts of time, but absolutely nothing is truly deleted. The biggest problem with recovering the J6 text messages is the obstructionists at FirstNet. FirstNet equals AT&T equals NSA. NSA is forever. This is right in your wheelhouse, S2. So feel free to pick this one up and run with it.
Got a little secret to let you in on too. You know what else FirstNet equals? Voter machines.
Yes, that is absolutely correct.
NSA's been doing this shit forever. Like I said, all they've done with Obama being in office and passing all the bullshit that he's done is now they've just put the legal stamp of approval on it. That's all they've done. And this is not a freaking surprise. We've all known this ever since they found out that Biden had authorized all of this crap. And just got to get rid of it. I mean,
yeah. And you're right. We sold many billions of dollars of equipment, meaning Sun Microsystems, to the NSA for Project Echelon, which people are welcome to look up. And that was in the San Francisco Bay Area, where the NSA wanted systems from us that were capable of capturing every piece of data going to and from both sides of the Pacific Ocean. We're talking the computers we sold back then were the size of refrigerators, that 104 CPUs, $20 million a piece for human genome research, and they got repurposed for Project Echelon, and many of them got repurposed.
The FBI
Snow White,
carnivore.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. And I believe and I also believe that the blowing up of the Tennessee AT&T data center had something to do with that as well.
I do not disagree with that. So we're at the end of chapter 1. And before we bounce into chapter 2, which is headlines in a round robin format, got a quick message from one of our sponsors, Sawyer Products.
The Sawyer Mini is the most versatile personal filtration system available. It's a perfect solution for backpacking, hiking, hunting, fishing, scouting, international travel, and emergency preparedness. At a mere 2 ounces, the Mini fits in the palm of your hand and can filter up to 100,000 gallons of water from any freshwater lake, river, or stream. The Sawyer Mini has a 0.1 micron absolute pore size. It was tested to 10 million parts of bacteria and 1 million parts of protozoa without a single breakthrough. This is the highest level filters can be tested to, so we're confident these are the highest rates of filtration available.
All right, so we're going to start off with a speech that Rob Snyder made recently that is really, really good. As you can see here, Rob Snyder's fiery message explaining to the Democrats why they lost.
Democrats, you lost because you tried to convince the American people that it was racisty to close the border and not let people come in illegally to rob and murder them. You lost because nobody gives a fuck about the term Latinx. You lost because your Justice Department called parents who showed up at school board meetings terrorists just for not wanting pornography in their children's classrooms. You lost. Democrats, you lost because you lied about January 6th, calling it worse than Pearl Harbor or 9/11, instead of what January 6th really was, the FBI guided tour of the Capitol building. You lost, Democrats, because men can't have babies, women don't have dicks, even if they play in the WNBA. And free speech isn't a privilege like a driver's license. It's a God-given right guaranteed by our Constitution.
All right, this one's to you, Jeff.
He's absolutely right on all that stuff. I mean, yeah, they've overreached. They've always overreached, and then finally someone is slapped them back, and it needs to happen. And it needs to be. I hope to God the American public wake up and say, we're not going to accept this crap anymore. And the best thing is, the ones who take it in the shorts are the Democrats and the media. And I know that's redundant, but people need to recognize that the legacy media, the mainstream media, whatever you call it, they are not your friends. They are communists trying to take what freedoms you have away from you.
Yeah, well said, Jeff. All right, Mike, the next one up is for you. So I alluded to this earlier that I'm not sure who this guy is at Hustle Bitch, but it got a fair bit of traction. So breaking, Kamala Harris becomes first female president of the United States. Speculations are swirling that they're planning on invoking the 25th Amendment to make Kamala Harris president for 30 days. Why else would Biden be rushed to the White House late in the middle of the night? Why else would Kamala Harris cancel her trip to California and immediately be sent back to D.C.? Is this the conspiracy theory of Kamala Harris becoming the first female president of the United States about to become a reality?
No.
This is yours, Mike.
God in heaven, please no. I mean, I can see him trying to do something like that, but you know, I can also, at the same time, I can also see a bunch of people in Congress going, "We haven't had a president for the last 4 years. What do we need her? What do we need her there for now anyway?" They're gonna have to kill Joe off in order to get any kind of consensus on that sort of thing, which I wouldn't put above them. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they walked him out there into the Rose Garden and put him down like old Yeller.
That's harsh.
Question I have right now is, wait a minute, isn't Congress on like a vacation or something right now? And if this is a congressional act, how many weeks? We know how fast the federal government moves. How fast are they going to move on this?
They're on vacation.
Yeah.
Okay. Quick note there for you, S2. Just in the private chat. So we got a ton of links to get through here in the second chapter. So just a reminder for everybody, 1 article per person. And we don't have time to get into a debate on each individual item because there's far too much to cover. So the next one up is yours, S2. That was Mike's. Those dirty, corrupt politicians tried to slide into the bill. Congress emails are exempt from ever being seen. They attempted to write a law that puts them above the law. 30 days can't come soon enough. Government funding bills are about raises for Congress and exempting them from crime.
They tried to write into law that no one's allowed to look at Congress's emails. So if I get a subpoena, you get a subpoena, we have to hand our emails over. But Congress, if they get a subpoena, they don't have to. So if Trump wants to investigate the January 6th committee to find out what happened, you can't see the politicians' emails. If Nancy's texting Paulie P about investment opportunities, no one's allowed to see it. Congress just tried to write a law that puts them above the law. I thought no one was above the law. Didn't they say that all last year?
So obvious question for you, S2. Do you think that would hold up to scrutiny from the Supreme Court in conjunction with the Constitution?
They are shitting their pants right now is what's going on. I mean, when the next AGUS gets into office, that's the very first fucking thing that's going to happen is there's going to be subpoenas flying for emails.
For sure. Yeah.
And you get a subpoena, you get a subpoena, you get a subpoena. Everybody gets a subpoena.
Yeah. It's to me, it's unreal though that they would have the balls to put that in there. I mean, it's as good as an admission of guilt as far as I'm concerned. But moving on to the next one here, Jeff, no surprise here, but this explains a lot as far as the Mockingbird media is concerned. Political affiliation of American journalists, they're far more Democrats than Republicans. So this little wee sliver down here is the Republicans. These are ones who are registered Democrats, and these are the ones who claim to be independent, which I don't believe. I think you could combine the Democrats and the independents.
The key word there is claim to be, and that's just a CYA thing. Yeah, you can say there might be 1 or 2 that are actual independents. Now, John Stossel is probably one of them. But the other 9 million, no, they're all Democrats. Come on.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there wouldn't be 92% positive reporting for Biden when he's a vegetable.
Yeah, well said. Mike, this next one is in your wheelhouse. It's kind of fluky how some things work out like this sometimes. I don't know if you've even heard this or not, but this is interesting.
Here we go.
This is right now, Christmas weekend, military aircraft over the United States. I've tried to make this video 3 times and it keeps freezing me up in the app. It's never done that before. Last night, Vice President Harris and Uncle Joe decided to cancel Christmas trips and stayed in Washington, D.C. I don't give in to many theories, but this has my interest piqued. As a licensed student pilot, you understand that aircraft tell a story. This is a sub hunter on the East Coast right now. This is a refueler. Another refueler right now over the East Coast. Another sub hunter above New York. Another sub on the East Coast in North Carolina. Christmas weekend, President and Vice President cancel trips, stay in Washington, and this is the most sub hunters I've ever seen up in one day. What do they know that they're not telling us? There is no such thing as coincidence. Obviously, this is not to put fear out there. This is just saying, hey, something's up, and it's a lot of aircraft that are up right now.
Take it away, Mike.
You're right. I hadn't seen that. Yeah, wow. I don't even really know where to go with that one, man. I mean, there shouldn't be that many military aircraft up at one time, especially, I mean, why do they got that many Orions running around on the East Coast?
That's why
submarines in the Hudson River.
Right. and there's one right off the coast of Los Angeles. He's gonna shoot up the amusement park.
Yeah. So there's various reports circulating right now. Steve Ram published an episode earlier today saying that his sources are saying there's an imminent Chinese attack on the lower 48 here, but I watched it and I didn't see any significant evidence. I'm not saying that Steve Ram's not a good guy, but I didn't see anything that really backed it up to that extent, but maybe it plays into that video. I don't know. Next one up.
I mean, military attacks on Christmas Day are a thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Ask New Jersey.
Yeah. All right. Pardon me. Next one up is S2. Donald Trump's transition team is pushing to pull the U.S. out of the World Health Organization on the first day of the new administration, according to experts who warn of the catastrophic impact it would have on global health. Take it away.
What impact? We'd be free of bullshit again.
Right. Look at the money we save.
I say, get us out of the WHO, get us out of NATO, get us out of the UN. Done.
100%. Could not
agree.
Like
saying if we take all the artificial ingredients out of our food, we won't be as healthy.
Yeah, well, I mean, why would we be? I mean, we've become dependent on chemicals now. So next one up is for you, Jeff, from Elon himself. What the fuck is the German press saying? Most people in Europe still think the legacy press is real when it is pure propaganda. Please send them links to X so they know what's actually going on. This is the post that was below it. It's just a little larger. Despite claims made by the German press, Talib Abdullah Motion is not an ex-Muslim atheist, nor is he a fan of the AfD or Elon Musk. While he may have spread this misinformation himself, it aligns with the practice of taqiyya, an Islamic doctrine that permits lying and deception to advance Islamic objectives. In reality, he's a radical Shia Muslim, as evidenced by his name and numerous and chat leaks circulating on Arabic-speaking platforms like X. Disturbingly, his plans to carry out mass killings of Germans were brought to the attention of German authorities by a Saudi woman. Tragically, the police ignored her warnings. The links are down below. So I'm not going to play this video. It's 2.5 minutes long. She just basically says what I just said. Thoughts on that, Jeff? Do you think that this guy,
No. Okay, he wanted to go to Britain or Germany. The way he goes is he says, I need asylum. Why do I need asylum? I'm an atheist. I'm an Arab atheist, and I'll be killed if I go home. That's like all the people who come across our border and say, I fear for my life back home. Please give me asylum. He said exactly what he knew would get traction with the screaming lefties in Germany, and they let him stay. And then he runs over 100 people in a Christmas market with his car. This is just stupid. And even if he is an atheist, who gives a rat's ass? You're an illegal alien. Go home. We don't give a shit. How many countries did he have to go through between Saudi Arabia and Germany to get there? Well, the first one he hits is the one that should have been his asylum location, not the 20th.
Explain the first safe port doctrine or reasoning.
If you're applying for asylum, which means you are in fear of your life, be it for political, religious, you're gay, whatever, and you're in country X, you are supposed to apply for asylum in the first safe haven, which means if you're from Nicaragua, your first safe haven may be Guatemala. You've crossed the border. You're no longer in Nicaragua. But this idea that you can move up through 10 different countries until you find one that you really like and then apply for asylum is bullshit. We should only be accepting asylum claims from people from Canada, Mexico, and whoever lands in a direct flight into the United States. So if they come from Paris, if they're claiming asylum, they damn well better be French. Otherwise, send them back.
Well said. So, Mike, next one up is for you. Breaking news in the German city of Magdeburg, which is where this guy.
Magdeburg.
Magdeburg. A person who allegedly said, I am Christian, was arrested by the police. And it's not allegedly. There's multiple videos showing this guy basically saying, I'm a Christian. That's it. They put him in handcuffs because only WASPs can be held to account in Germany these days.
Ich bin ruhig in diesem Land. In diesem Land bin ich ruhig geblieben. Ich bin ein Christ. Ich bin Gott.
All right, that's enough of that.
Do not mess with their Polizei.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do not play around. We got this little thing here in the United States called, police brutality. That doesn't exist in Germany. They will beat you until you are unconscious. Ask me how I know. I was young and stationed in Germany, and I got my ass beat the very first night I was there. Yeah, it's good times. Yeah, especially the Springbaton. Those are always nice. They hit you with it once, and it bounces and hits you like 7 more times. Yeah, it's good times. But the Germany has been flipped. It's such a mess, and I hate it for them. I don't know. This has gotten to a point now where the German authorities are back to the whole, I was just following orders. Guys, it didn't work in Nuremberg the last time. You got to stop doing this.
Right.
Vote AFD.
Well, that's interesting that you would make those comments, because the next one up, which is for S2, it features the German police again explaining to a Muslim woman that Germans have had enough. Hey, I got to back that up. Did y'all catch the guy, the handicap guy, trying to escape in a scooter? Right? That's him right there.
Not fast enough, not far
No,
enough.
Look. He's just
get a rascal.
Yeah, he's trying to get out of Dodge there.
Or is that a hover round?
Actually, it looks like a snapper. With
They
that,
probably stole it from Walmart.
right? So, S2, do you want to add anything to that as far as German police methods are concerned?
It looks like to me like they're equal opportunity beaters to me.
Oh yeah, all they want is a quiet shift. They don't care.
Oh, that was funny. That was well said. Good job. So conversely, check this out. Last year, Richard Sitzlak admitted to killing his roommate and got released within 72 hours. He just killed a bus driver in Seattle.
Hey, can you guys move this way for us, please? Get out of the way. Hey, you with the one with the green hoodie looking at us. Come over here with your hands up. You're not free to go. Come on out. Hey, drop your bags right there. Stop. Turn around for me. Walk slowly towards me. Put your hands behind your back. Thank you.
So, Jeff, I mean, this one is yours. Just my thoughts, but I kind of like the German SOP a little bit better than the Seattle SOP.
Well, and if you notice this, the guy being arrested had his hands behind his back before the cops even asked. He knew the drill.
Yeah.
He also knew nothing was going to happen to him. But when I was a kid growing up in the South, if you mouthed off to a policeman and you got your head thumped, your parents would say, don't mouth off to the policeman.
Right.
Because the parents supported the cops. If you're a screw up and the cops did what cops did, that's the way it was. Now, it's like everybody's looking for a lawsuit and a paycheck. And we need to say, no, you're a freaking idiot. You got your head thumped. You're lucky it wasn't thumped worse. And I'm just so sick of this coddling criminals crap.
I was way less scared of the cops than my parents.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we get in trouble at school. You got it worse at home.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable. Okay, Mike, next one up is for you. Genocidal rhetoric. Whiteness is a pandemic. Whiteness is a public health crisis. It shortens life expectancy. It pollutes air. It constricts equilibrium. It devastates forests. It melts ice caps. It sparks and funds wars. It flattens dialects. It infects consciousness, and it kills people. White supremacy is a virus that, like other viruses, will not die until there are no bodies left for it to infect, which means the only way to stop it is to isolate it, locate it, isolate it, extract it, and kill it.
It also causes ED.
I'm not connecting the dots, and I'm not sure I want to.
Guy's an idiot. You just come on. You know what? You know what this guy's doing? This guy's like, okay. I've got a deadline today. I've got to get this thing in. I don't even know what I'm going to write. Hey, I know what I'll do. I'll point the finger at white people. Shut up. Oh, man.
You want to hear something else stupid he said? Straight black men are the white people of black people.
What was that?
Say that again. Straight black men are the white people of black people.
He did say that, didn't he? Yeah.
Okay, so he's gay.
I'm going to start drinking. You guys are just going to have me drinking tonight.
Golly, I don't
Way
know.
ahead of you.
All right. So the next one comes from one of these imports in Great Britain. And listen to what he's got to say.
And force the Muslims to take up their British values. Now, we don't like your culture. We don't like your gambling and your homosexuality and your promiscuity and your man-made laws. We don't like that. I think what we've got is better. We'll keep to that. No thanks. We believe that Islam is the best way of life, and the Islamic way of life is the best. The Sharia is the best law, and we believe totally on Allah, and this is why we stick to it.
So I thought they said that the Sharia law would never come to Western society. Wasn't that the mantra?
That guy went to a strip club 5 minutes later.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say he's probably out on the next corner looking for a little bully.
Yeah, because Allah cannot see me here.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. Moving on to the next one. This one is pretty infuriating. A Georgia homeowner was thrown in jail for criminal trespass after she called the police on a squatter in her home. A police officer told her to look at things from the squatter's point of view because not everyone is as fortunate as her to have a bed. My response to that would be, go fuck yourself.
A Clayton County attorney spent 2 months in jail after police arrested her for trying to remove an alleged squatter from her home. Good evening. I'm George Estevez.
Hello, I'm Wendy Corona in for Linda Stouffer.
That alleged squatter remains in the Clayton County house more than 3 months after an eviction battle began. Channel 2 consumer investigator Justin Gray is here now. And Justin, the homeowner is the one facing criminal charges here, not the squatter.
George, the Clayton County homeowner says she showed up to the house because she thought the alleged squatter had finally moved out after losing a court judgment. Instead, the Clayton Sheriff's Department says that homeowner performed an illegal eviction.
They've been squatting, and if they have to get somebody killed, they'll do it. Calm down.
From Clayton County Sheriff's body camera, you can see the homeowner, Lalitha Hale, taken away to jail, not the alleged squatter at this Livingston Drive home.
She's going to be charged with criminal damage to property for all of your belongings. Criminal trespass as well for her coming in here.
I spent the night on a mat on a concrete floor in deplorable conditions while this woman, this squatter, slept in my home.
Lalitha Hale says this all started back in August when she called police after finding Sakimia Johnson in the house.
How can she not be a squatter when I don't know this person? I've never had any type of contractual relationship with this person.
But a Clayton County magistrate judge ruled under the new Squatter Reform Act, Sakimia Johnson did not qualify as a squatter because she is related to a previous evicted tenant's partner.
I was renting a vacation about a squatter.
I can't listen to the rest of this. Jeff,
I knew a guy who knew a guy who lived there back in the 60s. Therefore,
isn't that just fucked?
Yeah, squatters need to be tossed on their asses immediately, if not sooner.
Yeah, it's politicians who make laws like this deserve to be smacked down big time.
Oh, liberals?
Yeah, or rhinos, and either one. So moving on to the next one, and this keeps in line with what we've been preaching for quite some time, is to watch what's going on in other countries as a predictor of what they will try here. This one is pretty egregious, and we mentioned it, I want to say a week ago or so. A Romanian election nullified over misattributed TikTok campaign. This one's yours, Mike. Romania's presidential election results were annulled following allegations of Russian interference through a TikTok campaign. What kind of banana republic BS is that? You're on mute, Mike.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know, man. That sounds an awful lot like some Cold War shit going on right there, man. Sound familiar to you, Jeff?
It does. Attribute to your enemies that what you yourself are doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sounds very familiar.
Unbelievable. Just, I guess absolute power corrupts absolutely, right? And there's nothing that'll stop them from doing whatever they possibly can to keep control. Moving on to the next one. This one's for S2. Mike Johnson hands Donald Trump a big mess after debt ceiling betrayal. I'm assuming you're up to speed on this one, S2.
Oh yeah. I'm with Trump. Get rid of the debt ceiling. Here's the thing: when you take away the argument from everybody, they have nothing left to argue about. But you put rules into place that says you have to balance the fucking budget, asshole.
Yeah.
Or no paychecks.
Yeah.
No going home.
I can't remember who it was. It might have been Ron Paul who said that any budget or bill that's not balanced, they should get a reduction in pay or something along those lines.
The problem you have is you have a bunch of fucking idiots up there with college educations that don't know the first thing about how to balance a fucking checkbook.
Pretty much. It's a clown show, that's for sure.
You get minimum wage until the budget's balanced, and they get the rest of it.
There you go. Minimum server's wage.
Like $3.35 an hour when I was.
Oh no. They don't get paid. They can live in a barracks on Fort Meade.
There you go.
They can eat in the chow hall at Fort Meade.
Fair enough. All right.
They can ride in a bus up to the hill every day.
Sounds good. Jeff, this one is yours. The headline says it all. Trump threatens to take back Panama Canal. The history, of course, is Jimmy Carter gave it to them, and now the Chinese essentially control it. And Donald Trump saying, we built it and we're going to take it back. What do you think of that?
I like the sentiment. I don't know if he can get away with it. But what the Panamanians need to realize is Panama wouldn't even be Panama if it wasn't for us. It was a province of Colombia. And we wanted to, the French tried, they failed. We said, okay, we'll take it over. We'll build the canal. And the Colombians were like, we'll see. Okay, well, we'll see. We basically went in, started a revolution, took Panama, made it an independent country, and Panama says, yeah, we'll let you build the canal. So Panama would not even be Panama if it wasn't for us. But we need to basically assert our authority and say it is in our strategic interest that our ships have free access to the canals that we built. And if you don't like it, we'll take it back.
And can you imagine what it's going to cost to rehab it after the Chinese have been running it into the ground for the last 25 years?
Oh, God.
All right, moving on to the next one. This one's for you, Mike. And once again, the headline says it all. CNN suffers lowest ratings in history. Over the last year, CNN averaged less than 100,000 viewers in the crucial 25 to 54 demographic and a total viewership of 488,000. That's on a daily basis, by the way.
Yeah, they're on life support. I think about the only place that you're going to find them is either in dentist offices or up on Capitol Hill, or airports. In some airports. Yeah, definitely not Atlanta. I'm here to tell you, it's Fox is on all over Atlanta. But yeah, I mean, dude, they can't understand why. That's the crazy part. They can't understand why is it tanking. Well, I don't know. Maybe because everybody wised up to the fact that you've been lying to them all this time. You and MSNBC and ABC.
Yeah, Brian Stetler is the one who's like the most shocked. He's had a bunch of interviews on recently saying he just doesn't, it's not fair. And I don't understand why they're not watching us and they're watching podcasters and blah, 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 blah. It's insanity. Keep lying. It's what you just said. They've been lying through their teeth, and now the roosters have come home to roost. All right. Next one up is US 2. This is pretty crazy number. 149 attacks with explosives in Sweden in 2023. The vast majority carried out by imminent gangs. Sweden has just gone to hell in a handbasket. I mean, I had heard of the attacks. I didn't know there was 149. Your thoughts on that, S2?
I think the Irish and the terrorists and the Arab terrorists have escaped to Sweden.
Well, it seems like it's attributed to the Muslims, but anyway.
So you had something very similar to that back around 1516 in the Low Countries there in Belgium and Holland.
Okay.
And they were just very good at covering it up and not letting anybody see it. You are also starting to see a little bit of a bombing campaign starting to kick up in Ireland because the boys from Belfast have turned the faucet back on.
Right. What did I just say?
Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm very conflicted about this whole thing. You know, on one hand, they wanted me dead for a long time. On the other hand, I agree with them now. So it's just, I'm in a weird place.
That's too funny. All right. Next one up is for you, Jeff. Scott Jennings just nuked Democrat narratives about Elon having too much influence over U.S. politics.
Is this going to wear thin with Donald Trump soon?
I don't think so. I mean, look, they appear to be getting along well. Musk was very instrumental in his victory. And I hear Democrats, criticizing the idea that we have unelected people with too much influence over the government. I invite them to pick up the Wall Street Journal from this week and find out that unelected people have been running the government for the last 4 years. I hear Democrats criticizing the influence of billionaires on our politics when you've got this Soros punk running around collecting Democrat politicians like my kids collect Pokemon cards. So I think all the criticism of Musk coming from the left is totally hypocritical, totally over the top. And he is doing something interesting, bringing some transparency to the federal government. It's not a terrible thing. But it's a...
All right. So that one's yours, Jeff. And that is the end of the second chapter. But your thoughts? You're on mute, Jeff.
Jennings is a national treasure because he's on a screaming liberal show and he's the only voice of sanity. And they can put 12 people on the show and the only one you listen to is him because the rest are morons.
You're being actually far too kind. You're being far. I think you're being far too kind, but
it's a family show.
Well, actually, it's not, but fair enough.
A very dysfunctional family, but yeah.
Too funny. All right, so we're at the end of chapter 2. We're getting ready to go into chapter 3 with the zany headlines and funny aha stuff. Just want to give a quick shout out to a few companies that we've been working with. Black Forest Supplements, their NMNS2, and I've been taking this. I've told y'all before, I've done experiments with this. Take it for a month straight, stop taking it for a couple days. Energy level falls off a cliff. I've been wearing these X39 patches now. It's a frequency patch for a little over 2 weeks, and I have slept better with these than I have in forever and a day. And y'all know that I like my branched chain amino acids, and these ones actually taste good. There's links for everything down below. When you support the companies that support us, gives us more time to do more research and bring you quality news and entertainment is probably the best way to state it. So, Mike.
Yes. Let's have a quick highlight here. Lynn H75. We put the fun in dysfunctional.
There you go. There it is, right there. Perfect. So I'm not sure how it worked out this way, Mike, but I'm perfectly okay with it. But the first headline tonight is Ukraine's all-robot assault force just won its first battle. And there's a video on it right here.
Is that a mod deuce?
That was a mod deuce. I need a mod deuce for my robot for reasons.
I thought you'd be impressed by that.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's so yeah. If you look at the swords variant of my robot, the Talon system, yeah. I mean, they used to mount like M202 flash rocket launchers and like a pack of 8 40mm grenade launchers onto it, or you know, an M240 or an M249. You put on it whatever the hell you want and just go hunting with it, stupid thing, and it's wild and it's great. And yeah, I want a mod deuce for mine.
Well, by my calculations, you've got what about 72 hours to put your order in with Santa.
Sweet. I've been a good boy. You believe me, right?
Yeah. All right. So the insanity continues in America. This is too much.
Well, it's like, you know, you live all year long in your little box, and you come here for 1 week. You can kind of have crazy fantasies, and you can get away with it, and no one cares. And what happens in Key West is here.
We're talking about. Have you been before? Oh, cool.
Oh boy. S2, do you want to comment on this?
No.
Good.
I decline.
Good answer.
Oh, I mean, but it's a very Marine Corps thing going on there.
Ooh, low blow.
I'm sorry. That was not correct. That was a very Navy thing going on.
It is not. It's not gay if you're underway.
So
hey, you guys know why the Navy keeps Marines on board their ships, right? Because somebody's got to lead at the dance.
So the iconic photo of Jill Biden with her goo goo gaga eyes and Donald Trump. Jill Biden reportedly chose not to invite Kamala Harris and Doug Emhoff to any White House Christmas festivities this year and didn't even send them a Christmas card. Yeah, she voted for Trump. Oh my God. All right. So this is crazy. I don't know if y'all saw this or not, but what in the world are they making Oreos out of? I refuse to believe our stomachs can digest this.
0.1 second, 0.5 second, 1 second, 3 second, 5 second, 30 second.
They need to put that on the space shuttle.
Yeah, I've been telling you guys all this time. That's what the exterior layer of our bomb suits is made out of. That's why it's fireproof.
Now that's the heat shield from the Apollo 11 space capsule. That's impressive. I mean, that's a long time.
But not the Challenger.
No.
Too soon?
No.
Too brittle.
What in God's green earth is in Oreo cookies to take that kind of punishment?
You can only burn burnt cookies some more.
That's friggin' insane. Absolutely insane. I can't remember the gist of this one, but it's Elon says it's funny, so let's have a listen.
Is Elon Musk trying to interfere in Germany's upcoming election? Many are saying this tweet shows he is. On his platform X, Donald Trump's soon-to-be efficiency czar wrote, "Only the AfD can save Germany," above a video criticizing CDU party leader Friedrich Merz for refusing to work with the far-right AfD party. The result, jubilation from the AfD. Their leader Alice Weidel thanked Musk and wished him and Trump a Merry Christmas, while among most other politicians, there was outrage.
Dass die Faschisten nicht nur von Putin gekauft sind, sondern auch von einem rechtsradikal gewordenen Multimilliardär unterstützt werden, sagt ganz viel über die Faschisten aus. Sie sind eine Truppe von Landesverrätern, die auch noch gekauft
A
sind.
band of traitors bought
The
by
AFD is
billionaires.
currently polling in second place ahead of February's election, but other parties have ruled out cooperating with it. The anti-immigrant party has long been in favor of Elon Musk, although they have also protested against the Tesla Gigafactory in Germany, saying electric cars were the wrong way to go. But this tweet and the reaction to it show how worried some here in Germany are.
Oh my God. I mean, anybody want to comment on that?
They say that they're politicians bought off by billionaires. I don't remember any money exchanging hands.
It's, yeah, I don't know. It's insanity. I don't know what else to say about it. But moving on to the next one here. This is kind of funny. British people like myself cannot comprehend how in America you can be filling your car up with gas and suddenly find yourself in the middle of a full-blown war. Ironically, redcoats found themselves in a full-blown war when their attempt to confiscate weapons from the American colonists backfired and forced them to run like bitches all the way back down Battle Road. There's a video that goes with this, but we are running long, so I'm going to skip it and move on to the next one here. And just in case y'all didn't know this, but this non-binary TikToker calls on all Trump supporters to kill themselves. This is the party of love, tolerance, and unity. Strikes again.
Hey, Trump voters, did you know that statistically speaking, if all of you were to take your own lives right now, the world would genuinely be a better place? Did you know that? Like, if you all were to die right now, the world would be better off without you. Genuinely. The world would celebrate. We'd get some real work done. If all of you were to drop dead, it would be better for the world.
The only work that guy's getting done is sucking dick. There's no other way to put it.
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. What?
Yeah, well, this is an adult show, not a children's show. But anyway, this woman tells California officials 2025 is going to be good because Tom Homan is going to arrest them. Not all heroes wear capes.
My person uses the name Audra. I think 2025 is going to be pretty exciting because when you guys say F you to the federal government, they're going to say F you too. Because you guys think that you don't like what we do, but you're going to have a sore awakening when the federal government comes after you for aiding and abetting, and they're going to be like, you get a jail cell, 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 you get a jail cell. Probably all you guys too. So it's going to be actually really exciting. And I bet you guys are terrified, but you're going to continue to go down this same path of, with your UN agenda. It's going to be great to see it all unfold and unravel and be flushed down the toilet like the pure water you want us to drink. It's good. It's going to be fantastic because Tom Homan is going to come after you. And then my gavel broke. It's good.
Subpoenas for everybody.
Shit, I like her.
You want to date her, Mike. You want to date her, Mike. You know it.
We can fix her. We can fix. No.
Well, he'd be better off dating her than the next one here. Airlines make their products smaller every year. Then they blame us for not fitting. If your car got smaller every year, wouldn't you be pissed?
Airlines make their products smaller every year. Then they blame us for not fitting. If your car got smaller every year, wouldn't you be pissed? Seats are getting smaller, seatbelts are getting shorter, and they pack us in tighter so they can make more money. But when we can't squeeze into their tiny seats, it's somehow our fault. I'm done letting airlines make us the problem when it's them causing it.
Not sure if anybody wants to comment
Lady,
on
you should be
that.
talking to the load master on the C-17. That's who you should be talking to.
Well, and probably this group of dancers as well.
Oh no!
Oh, don't do this to us.
No.
8:21 here on the air. We're experiencing very strong shaking.
All right, we're going to go to break.
We'll be right back. We'll be right back.
I want to know why she was crawling under the desk.
That's a good one. And the next one's a PSA. Do not eat the new chicken nuggets from Taco Bell.
Why would you eat a Taco Bell anyway?
Right?
Yeah, no kidding. All right. And I don't know if y'all caught this, but after ABC lost a $16 million judgment to Donald Trump, they're going to be putting a running ticker on all news shows saying, for legal purposes, do not believe anything we say, from our friends at the Babylon Bee. All right. Next one. He may not think so at the moment, but that dude got extremely lucky in how he was ejected.
Hey, 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 hey! Oh, 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 oh,
Oh. Do it again. Do it again.
We are.
oh,
Oh my.
That'll buff out. That'll buff out.
Listen, I apologies in advance. You know that we get the group rate on on therapy. All y'all are going to need it after this one.
I remember when I lost my mind. I remember when I lost my mind.
Jeff, you can fix her.
She's gonna need teeth though.
That's Mike's ex.
Oh my God. Oh
my God.
I don't know if y'all caught this. There was a guy running around spraying poison on fruits and vegetables at a Walmart in Arizona, and they got him. They arrested him. So that's some good news. Now imagine combining the video with the girl singing with this contraption here. What could make it kind of interesting. Seems like only yesterday that I was being called a conspiracy theorist by Fruit Loops like this. Wonder if they ever realized how ridiculous they looked. And up next, House Speaker Mike Johnson announces that male Republicans neutered by Donald Trump may continue to use the men's bathrooms.
Where's Paul Ryan? I don't see him there.
Yeah, he was there earlier in the
He's
week.
on the table getting neutered.
There you go. There you go. The fact that there's a highway to hell and only a stairway to heaven says a lot about anticipated traffic numbers.
Yeah, we got a bus rented, and Ozzy's driving, and we're bringing a keg.
Okay. Well, listen, before that day comes, you're absolutely going to need additional therapy. Ohio will be accused of trying to steal a Christmas tree by hiding it in her vagina.
Come on. I haven't eaten dinner yet.
Do you think that kind of smells like one of those pine tree
dude? Well, hey, I got to tell you, man, SDN has been great for my diet. I'm losing weight just because of stuff like this.
You broke my internet with that one.
Oh, golly.
You broke my inner child.
Oh, golly. All right, moving on to the next one. This just speaks to how weak-minded some people are in our world. Boyfriend has ultimately chosen his comforts over me. After I gave him another chance, he absolutely blew it and told me yesterday that if he has to mask and test every time he leaves the house, he'd rather not leave. This left me incredibly pissed off, and after talking to other COVID-conscious friends, which this was posted today, by the way, I've ultimately decided that today we are breaking up. I think he has ultimately decided this too, because when I told him last night that we need to talk, he agreed and said, I don't know how much longer I can do this anymore. I feel like I lost you months ago. Okay, genius. If you truly feel like you lost me months ago, why have you not improved to keep me? This means that he's probably thought about breaking up with me too. Therefore, I guess that settles it. I am losing everybody in my life to COVID. I lost my sister, my brother, my father, and now my boyfriend. I am forever isolated and alone, and I feel like nobody will ever love me the way that I need to be loved. Hell, I've decided that I will be isolating and living in my room indefinitely. I have no money to leave and move to a new community, so I'm stuck here forever. It seems it's hard for me not to hate my life and hate myself right now. I am over existence, but I know somehow I need to keep living, even if it kills me. This shit is still going on. Can you believe that? Like,
Well, there is somebody out there for her. You can send her to the guy that told the Trump people to kill themselves.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. It could very well be a match made in heaven.
I gotta go back to the pine tree thing. Some of the comments on this are just friggin' too good. Was it pre-lit? Built-in ornaments? Ah, that fresh pine scent. Y'all are so wrong.
Oh golly, that's just not right. But
I quit. I don't play no more.
It's funny as hell. All right.
Get a raise.
If there is a government shutdown, who will spy on me, waste my money, and have contempt for me? Good question.
My ex-wife.
Right on. Study: testosterone treatment turns Democrat voters more conservative. Increased testosterone levels can cause Democrats to become more conservative in their political affiliation. A recent experiment analyzing voters in U.S. elections found.
True story.
From the no shit department. The strongest walls are not made of stone; they are made of brave men. Thought of you, Mike. When I stumbled across that one for your plans to arm the Trump's border wall. And
telling you.
Here's a good one. Then and now. That's a mouthful right there.
Two people never should have been on trial.
Boy, howdy. Ain't that the truth? All right. So I've got literally like a 6-second message from our friends at Flex Industries. They make the fastest triggers out there, bar none. They're all kinds of different triggers, but this one's our friend Tactical Carl with the 3MR trigger from flexindustries.com. It's so short, I'm going to play it again just in case you missed it. So Tactical Carl, good friend of ours, sheriff's deputy, just a great guy all around. And flexindustries.com, I'm telling you, they've got Glock triggers, AR triggers. They've got an AK trigger that's fixing to come out that the performance is on par with the forced reset trigger. Speaking of which, that was not a forced reset trigger. It's completely different technology. All right, so we are at the homework section. And so this is stuff that we recommend that our audience do related to the main topic at hand, which was chapter 1. So I've got 4 bullets here, and then I'll go Jeff, Mike, S2 for additional thoughts. Number 1, speak up on your socials and in person to help raise public awareness so this never happens again, meaning somebody who's got dementia, not mentally right, put in office as a puppet, and having a shadow government calling the shots. Number 2, write to your congressional reps and senators and demand for more detailed health reports to be made public. You can't just allow this to be swept under the carpet. We've got to expose this for what it is. Number 3, help spread the word by sharing truth tellers like Survival Dispatch News to your circle. Just like we've been hearing over and over again since Elon spoke up, we are the media now, not just Survival Dispatch News, but citizen journalists, because at the end of the day, we don't have a dog in the hunt, right? We're not bought and paid for like CNN and MSNBC and Fox News and all those clowns. We just tell it as we see it, basically.
And can we get bought? There's money involved with that, right?
Yeah, nobody's offering any money, so so maybe we'd love to have a sponsor, but more sponsors are good. Anyway, number 4, vocally support mental and physical health tests for presidential and congressional candidates, plus annual tests for incumbents. We cannot have unfit people like Biden, McConnell, and Pelosi running our country. This shit with Mitch McConnell freezing up constantly. He's in no position to be a powerful politician in the Senate. The shit's got to end. There's got to be some level, some test, some litmus test that either qualifies or disqualifies you to run our country. Jeff, do you have any homework that you can think of?
Well, I agree 100% with what you said. Now, for people who disagree, I've got 2 words for them. Kay Granger. She's a Republican congresswoman from Texas who has spent the last 6 months living in an Alzheimer's facility and nobody fucking knew it.
True story. Unbelievable, right? I mean, you can't make this stuff up, really, when it comes right down to it. So I've got it pulled up here quickly for everybody to see. Texas Rep Kay Granger, 81, who missed 6 months of key House votes, found living at retirement community that specializes in memory care. How do you disappear for 6 months and nobody wonders, what's going on?
Yeah. And we're paying her $176,000 a year to do that, by the way.
Well, of course we are. Yeah. Mike, you got any homework for our audience?
I mean, watch out for your Christmas trees. I can't even focus on anything else now, man.
So are you saying that if a Christmas tree smells like tuna fish, you should probably pass on it?
I'm just saying, if your tree disappears suddenly, there are different places to look. I wouldn't suggest looking in those places, though.
And Stacey Abrams has entered the conversation.
Oh Lord! Oh no! Don't even go there.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh, all right. S2, have you got any homework for the audience?
Stacey Abrams flying coach. Yeah. Yeah, homework. Once we get all of the people cleaned out that need to be cleaned out of Congress, start writing and calling your congressional reps and senators and demanding that every single person in there have a background check conducted. The kind of crap that Mike and I used to, well, and Jeff too, the crap that we used to have to go through with our background checks, they left no orifice unchecked. And
right,
is this like
shoulder?
And this should have theme of the night.
Pardon me? Yeah.
Is this turning into the theme of the night here?
It seems to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, the background checks are a must, and if you get reelected, the background check is done again.
Yes.
Great idea. That's awesome. All right. So a quick reminder, if you go to patreon.com/survival dispatch, you can download the briefs for our videos. It's like a curated daily newspaper. That way you can consume stuff on your own timeline if you don't have 2 hours to spend with us like this, as well as the fact that many of the videos, we can't play the whole video. So you'll have all the links for that. If you sign up as a paying member, you also get our 228-page essentials guide for free, and you get an invite to our Signal chat, which is extremely busy. None of us can keep up with it all the time. A lot of great information and camaraderie being shared there. Another reminder, End of the Briefs now has a restricted section that'll continue to grow. That is information that we cannot put on YouTube without getting more strikes, and we've racked up a few of them this year. Other than that, please support our sponsors so we can continue to bring you the best quality stuff that we possibly can. So that's CCW Safe for self-defense coverage, Sawyer Products for water filtration, Native Hydrate for the branched chain amino acid drinks, and Flex Industries for the fastest triggers out there. And for those of you who've hung in this long and are not Survival Dispatch insiders, the first 3 people who email support@survivaldispatch.com with the subject insider, all in capitals, will get a free 12-month premium subscription to our Patreon. Other than that, it's you, Mike, for the conflicted question of the night.
Okay, I'm going to do the conflicted question of the night before I go and pour bleach in my eyes. Okay. Hey, look, if you are getting ready to leave, you better mash that like and subscribe button. All right. Come on, help us out. It's not like we make any money doing this stuff. All right. Give us a break. It doesn't cost you anything. Right. Okay. Conflicted question of the night. What signs would you look for in order to help predict an incoming economic collapse?
Yeah. So recession, first and foremost, 2 quarters of negative GDP growth, decreased home sales, increased unemployment. I mean, all the regular indicators are pretty predictive. And there's one I'm trying to remember now that somebody brought to my attention a few years ago, and I can't recall the specifics, but maybe you will, Jeff. There's something to do with government issued bonds, and I can't remember what the pattern is, but every single time something's happened to our government bonds, it's predicted a recession within 6 months every single time. I just can't remember the specifics.
I think a lot of times when the yields go up, because people look at bonds as safety and they flee to safety.
That may be it.
But I think the primary indicator of shit hitting the fan is Nancy Pelosi liquidating her stocks and buying gold.
That would be pretty
Physical gold, not gold bonds, not gold, mutual funds. Physical gold delivered to her house.
When you said gold bonds, I was thinking powder and Christmas trees for some reason. But
Ben and Jerry's
gold bond, it helps for when
the
you have
vodka.
fridge food.
So who wants to take a bet that this carries on for a very long time, and new viewers are going to go, what on earth are these guys
Talking about? Yeah.
Forget Christmas trees. Y'all need to save the brief from tonight so that you have a good reminder. S2, your answer.
Missing Christmas trees. I watch, so in all seriousness, I watch crypto quite a bit, and I look at how crypto in certain categories tends to mirror the dollar. And then I look at some of the more independent ones that are broken away from the dollar. And when I start seeing crypto going through the roof the way it is, that's an indicator to me that there's something going on with either gold or fuel prices. But that's just what I look at.
Yeah, good point.
But
Well
yeah,
said.
missing Christmas trees would be a really good indicator.
Bring it home, Mike.
Dude,
That was for you, Mike.
Yeah, thanks. I think Jeff called it with Nancy Pelosi's stocks, but I guess the only other thing that I could think of was Chris Heaven would call me and say, "Hey, I can't pay you anymore, but you need to be paying me," and I'd be like, "I'll just pay you the exact same thing you've been paying me." Nothing.
Well, I mean, I could offer you a free Christmas tree, slightly used.
And I quit. Oh, wait, I forgot. Slaves can't quit.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I think this one's going to go on for a little while.
The Insiders is going to be lit.
Yeah, we've got another, kick-ass video to end out this episode. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Be nice to Christmas trees. God bless America.
Tree. Oh, Christmas tree. Hey, Merry Christmas, everybody.